Is this thing on? Looks like I got a little red light going, and yes, we are recording. Good. Uh, yeah, I'm back for more because, well, I guess this is the kind of thing I do nowadays. So, yeah, before I went on that super depressing rant about my life being such a shithole, I actually initially put the camera down to just wanted to touch on something else I've been working on. Last time I did my Switch games, showcase the ones I got. And well, this time I thought I'd do something similar but in a different direction. So, not to brag or anything, but when I was growing up, I always had a decent vocabulary. I understood words, and I was reading and had English comprehension at a higher grade level than you know than my peers or what was expected for my age. Um, Most affirming for me in that regard was back when I was in, I think, seventh grade. They did these assessment tests, um, and mine came back. It was like math, science, reading, um, language comprehension, reading level. Just kind of like a gauge to put where you sat versus where where you should be. And well, back then, um, my math comprehension, science, and all that was pretty much on par or a little ahead of my peers, um, and where I should have been at that point. Um, but I excelled in language, in English, um, vocabulary comprehension, things like that. And it was marked not even with a grade 11 or 12, but actually was it PHS, which I had to assume meant post high school. So I always took that to heart. I mean, my English classes, I always got A's, pretty much across the board, from from my elementary school through junior high school, senior high school. Yeah, that's what we called it. Where I came from, it was junior high and senior high. Junior high was seventh and eighth grade. Senior high was freshman, sophomore, junior, senior years. We all shared the same building, but this building was incredibly old. I think it was built in like the 1920s. Just to give you an idea. They tore it down in I think it was like 2012, maybe 2011. Somewhere. It was a while ago, but it was well after I graduated. They built a new building about half a mile away. Used that as their high school. Much easier access to their athletic field, as I understand it. I never stepped foot inside the new building because it was built long after I graduated and left town. I saw it from the outside once. Not sure why I was back in town for I don't know. I think I was in town for something with my friends, and it just happened to be a Friday night football game going on there. So we, just for all time's sake, we all just wound up going back to the high school football field, which is it's maybe about 400 or 500 yards away from that new school building. So real close. Saw it from the outside there. It was gaudy, god awful looking. Just don't know why they spent so many years trying to fundraise for that ugly looking piece of shit, but well, it is what it is. Anyway, I got way off track there. But yeah, anyway, so I had really good English comprehension skills and reading comprehension. So I guess it became kind of natural that I was pretty good in writing. Kind of took to it. Composed a few things here and there as part of the curriculum, and yeah, I guess it kind of just carried over into my early adult life, and I have never actually taken any formal classes as far as developing my writing skills or anything after I graduated from high school. So I guess my language skills have kind of plateaued, um, and as far as all that goes. You know, I could probably push a little bit higher if I go back to school and really, you know, pay for classes, which reference my last video. I got no money for that shit right now with everything that's going on. Um, but uh, anyway, this is kind of leading me to where, to the whole point of this thing, where I started about, what was it, 2011, 2012. I was still in the middle of my World of Warcraft days, where I was still playing a lot of it, and I started playing new characters, gave them names, that I just drew inspiration from songs and other bands, and well, I started to base a character that I was writing, um, on one of my Warcraft characters, and so I was like, okay, well, so I had this rogue. He was modeled after me. He was just a little bit younger version of me. But, I started off with him. Started trying to craft a world, that I could put him into. See about writing a book. And well, he's still around, but I started thinking, okay, I wanted to get like a little backstory going, like a prequel, um, prologue kind of thing going on from before these events. So that started me to writing another character, a character that I have named Marexa, which is a name, of a song that I really liked, once upon a time. The name stuck, and since then I've been writing this character. I've been writing Marexa, and just developed this whole story that I've been working on off and on, mostly off since about 2012. And well, that's why I got all this shit going on here. Oh god, this is gonna make me sweat. But yeah, so I have in front of me literally all the literature that I've composed related to this, this world and the storylines I've been working on. Most recently, I've been working out of this notebook here, and this has been my project, when I have downtime at work. And basically, I'm writing, the setup to the main story that I wrote, circa 2014, 2016. Because I decided, I wrote that story, and honestly, I hate it. I hate most of it anyway, but about 70% of it I hate. So I decided I'd flesh it out, expand the story, rework some things. And while I was trying to work on the inspiration there, I started writing a little bit of a side story. Kind of it didn't really have a set point in her life, but as I began to write one story, actually, I started writing this one, and then I jumped into this one, which I really didn't intend to, but it ties in with this one. So now I'm writing in the story to bridge from here to here, and then from here it's going to lead directly into the original story. So I am chaotic in my organization, but yeah, I've been writing character bios, and this little tidbits of information about each character, some more than others. And some plot points I've been trying to hold on to. Real rough sketch of the world map. Trying to get all that shit sorted through. Yeah, let's see, it's totally unrelated. But yeah, got that. Little history is about this various cities. Yeah. Haven't gone very far with that part of the lore yet, but oh dear God. Yeah. So a former friend of mine drew that. She was trying to demonstrate something for me. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, she didn't like something I said one day about using alcohol to as part of a trap and release program for winos. She didn't like that very much, and she unfriended me, and we've been out of contact ever since then. But anyway, that was back in my younger days when I was a little more conservative leaning. So yeah, it's whatever. But yeah, so I got all this going on here. I got the character bios I've been working on. I've got some. I had some preliminary narrative about how the story was going to go written here. I've largely stuck to this whole thing, but I've definitely deviated quite a bit from a lot of it too. Let's see. I also had something in here. Oh yeah, I was giving myself an outline for one of the locations that a significant event of the story takes place in. Was starting to detail that. Didn't get too far in that, but I've got the picture in my head of how that place is supposed to look. I just haven't articulated it very well yet in writing. And here, what I've got. Started working on Marixa's origin from my own mind, as far as what I was pursuing, what I was thinking when I conceived her, and a little bit of talking about her most significant friend in the story, how she became to be friends with this other individual. I did. Yeah. Sorry, I haven't read a lot of this in a long time, so I was like, okay, did I stick to this, or did I? Yeah, okay. This is what I wrote as far as the story goes. The original story, anyway. Let's see. Yep. Got that plot point. Sorry, I'm forgetting so much stuff that I had thought up originally. And of course, I got my binder with some loose papers, and this is actually something entirely different here. This has nothing to do with that story. It's just blank paper. Self-reflections. And yeah, I was talking about how I was kind of writing in my young adult days. Well, this is basically everything that I wrote back then. Um, I was inspired back then quite a bit by the writings of Andrew Schwab. Um, he wrote of several books actually. Um, at, at the time, he had out it was We Caught You Plotting Murder, and there was also Do Not Disturb, which contained a lot of writings in a similar style to what I got here. That's kind of what inspired me to begin writing. Actually, that is what inspired me to begin writing at all. And at the time, I was really depressed and just trying to find any kind of an outlet to, you know, just to get that hurt out. And yeah, in hindsight, a lot of the shit sucked, but it was the best I could do back then. And so much of this is just it's half finished because I didn't know where to go from a certain point. Yeah. I don't know. I might revisit these one day in the future, but they're definitely never going to be a priority for me. Might just be something that I do in the interim because I just want a break. And I know some of these were also inspired by the ex-girlfriend I had at the time. She was just oh gosh, she was a total mindfuck. I loved her, but good God, was it a horrible relationship? Yeah, let's see. Humor me for a minute while I look through this one. This one's a longer one. I don't know if I actually finished it or not. And I always gave these things like nonsensical titles, like this one. I don't know why I just named it Army Brat. It has nothing to do with the army. but yeah, I just took random phrases and used them as titles. Let's see. Forced to forfeit a part of yourself for the sake of keeping the peace. You give and give of yourself until there's nothing left, merely a hollow shell, an illusion resembling who you were. The consummate pacifist, desiring unity, your misplaced hope that others would follow suit, an innocence that soon gives way to anger. Anger which fuels your desire for revenge. Sorry, I was trying to read my own writing here. Twisted by rage, you yearn for blood, spewing venom at all who get too close. Friend and foe alike become as one in your eyes, as your sense of betrayal consumes your heart. For every enemy that you remove, two more appear, continuing the fight. You're heedless to its futility. Are you that blind to the obvious? Look at your surroundings, hopelessly outnumbered. Take a step back, my friend, and you might see. Opposition is not absolute. Though blinded by revenge, you should realize allies and friends still protect you. Put down the knife. We mean no harm. Trust us as you once did. Let us save you from yourself. This war you declared on the world will end. Only remember who you were before it began. Reclaim those pieces of yourself. You can become whole again. We were all a version of you at one point. I became myself again because of you. Drop your guard and catch your breath. We will defend you to the end. So yeah, that's just one that I wrote. I think I was, yeah, I think at that point I was trying to, I was grappling with with the with the notion that I actually had friends out there who were willing to fight for me when I felt so alone. So I don't know, it was so many years ago that I've forgotten, but that's one of my more complete ones. I probably wrote that one probably around 2007, 2008. Some darker ones there. Let's see. Oh yeah, this one. Yep, I was definitely inspired by my ex when I wrote this one. Frustrated beyond belief that no matter what I did, it was always wrong. Yeah, sorry, I got sidetracked here because I've written so many of these, and I'm just like, where the hell was my mind back then? So many of these were just partially written and abandoned. They'll probably never be finished, but it's probably for the better. Anyway, sorry about that. I got like, okay, but hey, back to where we were before that little tangent. Yeah, so I wrote Narexa's, the original draft of her story, and yeah, these were print copies I made along the way, just the first few pages. Don't know why I kept these, because I just don't want to recycle them yet. I also, where did I leave that other one? Oh yeah. There was also a second book that I started at the same time. Or maybe you should call it the first book, because this was where I actually started from. So I'll admit that I don't know how to pronounce the name, but I always just say it Bradaka. It's based in the Irish word for rogue, which I thought sounded like a fitting name for a character. But yeah, I started off with this one, and yeah, so it kind of, it follows the events of the first book about 15 years later. So different cast of characters. They were children in the first book. They've since grown up, so figure that would be a good way to keep the story moving, keep the story fresh. Let's see what else I got here. Oh yeah, some more character points. Oh yeah, so this one, I got the handwritten, well, some of it anyway. Some of it I hand wrote and then typed up later. I got character development here, character notes, where I want to go with it all. Let's see, this one is yeah, okay, this one is completely unrelated. That's shit from back when I was trying to figure myself out. Back when Selena was still a part of my life. Yeah, I could go on another tangent about her for quite a while, but I'm not going to, because that's a wound I really don't want to reopen right now. Let's see what else we got here. And yeah, more shit from back then. And yeah, yeah, this page here is kind of fun. I was tracking my measurements through the early stages of HRT. So yeah, so when I started HRT, I could measure my rib cage was 33 3/4 inches. Yeah, now I'm 39 inches around. So hip measurement went from 34.25 inches up to 37 inches now. Massive gain there. Let's see what the hell we got here. I have no idea what to do with this thing. This was an advertisement from a Nippon Ichi game, Labyrinth of Refrain. I want to throw it out, but it's unique. It came with my copy of Disgaea 1 Complete. So let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, another lore note from Rex's story. Let's see what we got here. And this notebook, I don't think actually has anything in it. So it is completely available for me to scribble in later on. Love that. And this one, I think, is yeah, okay, that's got a few things here from notes from way back when. Oh yeah, god damn, that was a long time ago. I had to that takes me back. I got this note here written down from an accident I was involved with. The only one I've ever had so far in my life. Yeah, so yeah, I had to call this 800 number to talk to an insurance agent from someone else. Yeah, so what I'm going to talk about there is so back in 2002, I was seeing someone for a short time. It's probably about 2 months that we were seeing each other, and well, just one day she stopped answering my calls, and we lived kind of far away, so I couldn't really go up and just pop in and see her whenever. But anyway, we would talk like every day, to some degree or another, or at least every other day. And then just one day she stopped answering my messages, and a few days later I get a letter in the mail from her, along with a medallion that I had left with her, and it was a breakup letter. She sent me this breakup letter through the fucking postal service. So I was I was 20 at the time, so not really used to the whole the dating scene, breakup scene, all that. So I wind up I go up, I get in my car and I just drive, wind up in Rice Lake, and I decided I'm going to go visit a friend. Got a friend that lives up there, and I was waiting to make my left-hand turn. This was Main Street, Rice Lake. Late mid to late morning Saturday, and I'm just sitting there waiting to make the left turn. I'm at the front of the line, and all of a sudden I just get hit from behind. The car that hit me, that was a Chevy Beretta. And that one got hit from behind by a minivan who had been hit from behind by, I think it was a Saturn, doing probably 30 miles an hour, just wasn't paying attention, hit the back, chain reaction, bam, 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 bam. I was at the front of the line. I got through relatively unscathed, but still had to, had to go through all the insurance stuff and interview with their agents and everything. I think all I wound up with was a bent license plate, because that Beretta basically just slid underneath my fender. So I looked out there. Everyone else not so lucky. But the kind of the cruel part was I was waiting to make the left-hand turn, and I was maybe 50 yards away from my friend's apartment. So all I had to do was just complete that turn, and I was right there. And I think I was just taking my foot off the brake when the impact occurred. So just a couple more seconds, everything would have been a-okay for me. Not so much for the other cars, but for me. Anyway, that's the only time I've been involved in an accident so far in my life. And I've been driving for, God, what's it been now? 27 years since I was 15 and a half when I got my permit. Anyway, back to this. Okay, yeah, just more shit that I was writing way back in my early adult days. Actually, I was just copying down song lyrics at this point. Was really into the whole Christian rock thing. Yeah, liked a lot of the bands back then, but yeah, my taste matured, my taste changed, and I listened to those songs, just like, yeah, this wasn't very good. Let's see, this one might also be a blank one. I gotta figure out my finances, because that was the thing I used to do, because back in those days I was making not much more than minimum wage. And if I was lucky, I could clear about $300 a month extra. Let's see here. Sims notes. I was achievement hunting that day, trying to figure out how to get. I forgot what the trophy was called, but you're supposed to make your character go through all the emotional states in one day. I was trying to figure out, okay, how do you do that? Because there's so many. I was like, okay, well, here's all the sources that can do it. So, this one was gifted to me by a former friend, actually the same one that did the drawing I showed earlier. And ideally, I would love to just use this as a composition book for for a complete volume of a book, because the pages are fancy, the covers are durable, so I'd like to use it for something something meaningful, something good like that. Let's see. Basically, me talking to myself here is what most of my videos always are. Let's see. Yeah. Talk about my desire to transition. Back when I thought it wasn't a possibility for me to actually do it. And where's Selena coming out here? God damn. Yeah. God. You know, I loved my time as Selena, but gosh, she was out of her fucking mind. And another one of those stories I started, never finished because of her. Let's yeah, just random blah blah blahs. Let's see. Let's see. Working on personal acceptance in this one. That was probably not long before my dysphoria came back in full force. And finally, this guy. Let's see what we got here. More finances. Let's see. Yeah, this one's got basically nothing in there. So yeah, that I don't even know where I was going with all that, to be honest. I just thought it'd be fun to look through my notebooks and kind of share my thoughts about them all. But yeah, you know, all the important stuff that's right here in this binder here with the Marixa story and all the lore going on there. And God, where would I be without this thing right now? Bluetooth keyboard that I got paired up with my phone. It's kind of awkward to use because I don't really have a computer desk available right now, and I have to just prop up my phone somewhere, or sit this thing here and go ham on it. Hope I don't get carpal tunnel in my left hand because for some reason it keeps cramping up when I try to type. But yeah, I just wanted to share that tonight, just because it would be something fun, I thought. And I have prattled on for a long time. I hope I didn't bore you too much. But yeah, I know you're not asking about it, but as far as Marixa's story goes, who knows when it's going to actually be finished. I'm still working on the prologue now. I know I've got to rework and expand and basically redo probably 70% of the original story anyway. So maybe by 2030 I'll have it done. At the rate I've been going, it might happen by then. Yeah, so I don't know. What do you think of the glasses, by the way? They're new. I think they fit me a little better, or suit me a little better than the other pair I had. Although they're a lot less comfortable than the other ones were. So, yeah, it's kind of a trade-off. Anyway, I know I've been battling on for a long time now, so I'm going to stop this and probably go to bed. So, I will talk to you later.